Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy, Fantasy Hockey, TITTH number 113. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. I got Nick Davis with me tonight. How we doing, Nick?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Good. Happy Monday, sir. How was the weekend? How are things?
Oh, it was good. Just chilling. I'm really excited about the Caps. They've been playing really well. They've only let up 2 goals, for the past couple games, and with the offense that they have, I think that they can, really do something if the goalies only let up 2 goals. I was happy to be looking down at my phone and see them winning some games. So definitely really happy about it.
Yeah, right on. I saw them come back up against the Devils yesterday. That was a nice win. My Blackhawks, they're rolling 9-3-1 in February, banging. Kane hit number 400 yesterday. I'm rocking a Kane jersey. You can't tell because it's his USA version. It's a little bit dirty too. Maybe worn on the pond a few times, but yeah, really happy about my Blackhawks, man. They're rolling. They put one in Detroit's face the other day, a 7-2 win. They're obviously cleaning up against them. The schedule is looking a little bit more difficult for March. The schedule was a lot more friendly. I think we played Detroit 4 times this past month, and we did lose to them once, which wasn't great. But that was the one time I didn't bet on them, so that was great. I just was like, I didn't even see the Hawks are playing Detroit tonight. Free money. That night it wasn't. That night it wasn't. So yeah, excited to have everybody in here for the show tonight. Excited. We got an 8-game slate. A couple of games have already started here. I'm watching Calgary and Ottawa. Let's jump into some of our props, some of our Monkey Knife Fight props, and just some of our straight up props, and we'll get into the game previews after that. Nick, if you want to start from the top on the Monkey Knife Fight props, I know I have a couple in already tonight. What are we looking at here?
So we got Connor Hellebuck, more or less 26.5 goaltending saves against Jonathan Huberdeau, getting more or less half an assist, so just an assist.
I like Huberdeau to get an assist. They're going up against who is it? Florida. That should be a very competitive game. Huberdeau is always producing for them. What do you think about Hellebuck though? Do you think they're playing Vancouver tonight? I believe. You think Vancouver gets that many shots on net? You think they get up to 28? A couple goals against maybe.
It's a little bit less than 10 shots a period. So I think that they can definitely touch that line. They're going to try and definitely pepper them with some shots because, it's not like Vancouver's been shutting down teams completely. So they're going to have to get things on net. So I think that's going to be over.
All right, fair enough. Vancouver's been really bad, so I do think they need to respond. I don't expect them to necessarily win tonight, but I expect a better performance that we've seen in some of previous games here.
I at least expect some shots, Like they got to do something, and the only way to do that is put the puck on net.
Yep, absolutely.
So the next one is Leon Draisaitl. The line is 5.5 fantasy points, and Tavares is 4.5 fantasy points. How do they score it for Monkey Knife Fight?
For goals, assists, shots, blocks, and things like that. I don't have the direct scoring up right there.
Oh, okay.
But it's going to be the same combination that you're getting from anywhere else, and you're going to obviously get negative points for -1, -2, etc. That's going to pour on. So, man, those are some tall numbers. I'm going to go on the over on both, to be honest with you. I think there's going to be plenty of offense in that game. At the same time, I believe I'm taking the under. I still see like a 4-2 win, a 3-2 win, something like that. And both teams have been trending towards the under. So I'll take the over on the fantasy points. I think both of those guys are really involved tonight, but I am going to be on the under in that game. What do you think?
Didn't Toronto, I'm pulling up their schedule right now, but didn't they just blank the Edmonton Oilers?
I don't know if they did in the recent game, did they?
Yep. They just blanked them 4-0. I remember looking down at my phone and seeing that, and I was like jaw dropped. I was like, "Are you serious? You shut down McDavid and Draisaitl?" So I'm going.
No, Maple Leafs one of the best teams in the league right now, if not the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say Tavares is over. Draisaitl is under.
Okay, going with the trend. I like it. Recency bias.
You just gotta roll with the trends.
Yeah, I like it. What's the next one?
Next one. Jonathan Marchessault. Over under
Marcia
four and a
Show.
half. Marcia Show.
Mhm.
4.5 fantasy points, and then Kirill Kaprizov. Over under 3.5 points.
Yeah, I got Kaprizov, and actually they made a switch there because earlier in the day when I put that on our sheet, it was Marcia Show, and then Monkey Knife Fight updated it to Alec Martinez. So I actually have Alec Martinez over 3.5 plus Kirill Kaprizov, or I'm sorry, over 4.5 for Alex Martinez and over 3.5 for Kirill Kaprizov. So I'm going to go that direction, and I'm going to say the under for Marcia Show. And Kirill Kaprizov is just hot right now. I also have him in an assist prop tonight as well.
Ooh. I'm gonna go the same way. Always go with the trends. So if Kirill's hot, then I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take the same route.
All right on. Was that the last one?
Yeah, that was the last one.
Yeah, so on top of those Monkey Knife Fight props, I'm also taking Kirill Kaprizov, as I said, with the anytime assist, and I'm putting that up with the anytime Aaron Ekblad goal, plus 450, going out on a limb on that one. But I like my odds. Ekblad hasn't had a point in a couple of games, I think like about 3 games, and he just gets a lot of shots on net. He's always good for like 3 to 5 shots on net, like every night. There's a lot of forwards that don't get that type of action that score more goals, season long than he does. So I like my odds. He's always putting pucks on net. I think that's going to be a very competitive game. Let's jump into the game previews. Actually, what's the first one that you have up there with the opening lines? Obviously we've started a couple of these games, but let's go over the opening lines from like Calgary and Ottawa, and I believe Winnipeg and Vancouver has started as well. Or I'm sorry, Carolina and Florida have started.
So Calgary is against Ottawa. Calgary is minus 1.5 on the puck line, plus 160. Senators are plus 1.5 on the puck line, minus 180. On the money line, the Flames are minus 153. Senators are plus 138. Over under is 6 team goals. Flames is 3.5, and Senators is 2.5.
Right. I actually like Ottawa in this one. Ottawa's been covering like 7-3 in their last 10 ATS. They've hit the over in 7 out of their last 10 games as well. Calgary just hasn't been playing that well. They've lost Markstrom. Without him in net, I really just don't trust them. I don't want to pick Ottawa to win, but I am going to pick them to cover the plus 1.5. I think that's easy money tonight. They've been covering consistently. Their record has not been good. They're 6-14 straight up in their last 20, but they are 3-2 in their last 5. So they are, starting to get it together a little bit here. What do you think about this one?
Well, the Senators, the Flames lost 6-1 against the Senators and then won 6-3 against the Senators. It's almost like they're opposites in terms of like their win-loss. They're 2-3 in their last 5 with the overtime loss. That's Calgary. So I'm going to say that Calgary wins, but Ottawa covers. I think it's going to be a 1-point game. I think they're going to try and close the gap between the two, but I'm going to say Calgary wins tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just don't want to go either way. Like, I'm not going to put any money line bets on this game. As far as the total goes, what was the number? Were they at 6.5 or 6 even?
They're 6 even. Yeah,
that's a tough number. I don't know if Calgary is going to push that number. Right now, we're actually at a 0-0 game. So if we're looking at this live, with no goals yet on the board here, we're at the end of the first. Yeah, I don't know what the live number is. We'll get to that here in a bit, probably once they're already in the second period. But, I feel like it's going to be an under. They've played each other recently. They're going to, be a little bit chippier. I was telling Nick before the show, I was watching warm-ups of this game in Calgary. They just did not have it, man. They're falling all over each other in warm-ups. The coach is tripping on the goalie, walking to the bench. And then freaking, what was it? Johnny Gaudreau, the Droz, he hit Monahan in the face with a puck. Like, Monahan's coming out. He's all, beat up in the face. He looks like he just won like a couple rounds of John Scott. Like, what the hell? So they don't look like they have it tonight. Yeah, I guess so. Like, we're going to play possum here. Like, something like. So far from what I've seen, I'm not high on them right now. We'll get back to the live betting here in a bit, but I'm not feeling good about Calgary based off of what I've seen so far here. So what's the next one?
So the next game is Carolina Hurricanes against the Florida Panthers. On the puck line, Hurricanes are minus 1.5, plus 225. Panthers are plus 1.5 on the puck line, minus 265. On the money line, Hurricanes is plus 101. Panthers are minus 111. On the over-under, it is 6. And for the team goals, both are at 2.5.
Okay. So the books are definitely doing something tricky here. at least betonline.ag, shout out to those guys. They're doing something weird here. They gave Florida the +1.5 on the puck line, but they made them the favorite to win -111. Earlier today, this line was at -107 for Carolina, and I think again -111 for Florida. So it's kind of a shift here. They made Carolina the plus option out of nowhere, but they've been the better team. Carolina 12-6 out of their last 18, 9-3 straight up in their last 12 versus Florida that last one, and the over has hit 10 out of their last 15 times. Right now, I'm looking at Carolina's already up 1-0 over Florida. And I took Florida on the +1.5. They're down right now, but I still think they're a very competitive team. Both teams are very good this year, record wise. I think it's going to be a fun finish here. I'm losing it right now, but they're still covering the one. So we'll get to some live options here soon. But what do you think about this one?
I'm going to say that Florida's going to win. I think it's going to be a one goal win. Carolina's really been sliding. They only beat the Panthers in a shootout 2 nights ago. But then before that, they had lost 3 against Tampa, and they were pretty sound beatings. So even though Florida's down 1, we both know that it's not one goal that wins the game anymore, really. Those games are really far in between. So just kind of stay the course. I think Florida's going to win the game.
Yeah, and Carolina has what's his name? Nendel Jokovic. I don't know. Backup goalie. I think he's like 2-2 on the year. Chris Drieger in net for Florida. I just think he's the better goalie in this game, so I still trust them. When we get to the live options, we'll see if they flip the number again, but I have to expect that Florida's still going to be the plus option. What's the next one up?
So the next one up is Vancouver Canucks against the Winnipeg Jets. On the puck line, Vancouver is +1.5, -195, and then the Jets are -1.5, -1.5, and then +170 on the puck line. On the money line, Canucks are +117, Jets is -129. Total points is 6.5, and for the team goals is Canucks are 2.5 and Jets are 3.5.
Okay, yeah, I don't like Vancouver. I don't like them in this one. They've been really bad. They've lost 4 in a row. Winnipeg's won 4 in a row. Keeping it simple here. I'm sure Demko is in net tonight for Vancouver, but there just isn't enough there for me. Enough recency bias to just take Winnipeg to win, and I like the under. Both teams have been hitting the under. What is it? Vancouver 5-0 in their last 5. Winnipeg 5-1 in their last 6. I'm keeping it simple here. Going recency bias, picking the better team overall. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree on that. In their last 6, Vancouver's only won 1, and Winnipeg hasn't exactly set the world on fire in terms of like their scoring. So I'm gonna say the under, but the Jets are gonna win. Yeah,
Vancouver 2-8 in their last 10. They're not looking good. Holtby, big problems for him.
I wonder why.
I wonder who called that one.
Wasn't too hard. That was probably my easier pick of the year.
Yeah.
So the next game is the St. Louis Blues against the Anaheim Ducks. Blues on the puck line -1.5 +185. Ducks are +1.5 -215. On the money line, Blues are -127. Ducks are +115. Over under 5.5. Both team goals are 2.5.
I do not like either of these teams. Ducks, bad. Blues, been real bad. They let up like 6 goals the other night to the San Jose Sharks. We'll get to a little bit of that action after these recaps here or game previews. But I like the under the most. I think that's the safest play here. I do think there is some value to the Ducks that play a very good defensive game here. If you're feeling lucky, throw a small bet on them on the money line. I think they do have some potential to upset here. I don't like the Blues in general. They haven't been playing well. They're not profitable. They're blowing their covers. They're getting blown out by bad teams. I'm not putting any money on the Blues until they give me a reason to. So I like the under here. 4-2 in their last 6 to the under for the Blues. 4-1 for their last 5 for the Ducks.
Give me the.
You had something to change my mind?
No, not at all.
No.
I mean, man, the Blues just they tried to make some additions to their defense, but I mean, they're kind of becoming like shark-like, like the Sharks let up a lot of goals, even though they have defensive players. Kind of disappointed in them. And the Ducks, I think they're just, I guess they're just young, and they just haven't been able to. Yeah, some, but they've been sliding, but they do keep the games very close. So I do say that they're going to cover. So
are they the +1.5?
yeah. Let me
That's
make
the
sure.
bet. That's the
Yeah,
bet.
+1.5. It's -215, but you could maybe parlay that with something.
No, just take the -215. That's the bet. I mean, when you get these matchups, and especially this next one that we'll get to, was one of my favorite bets tonight. Like, who did I say earlier? Vancouver. Like, Vancouver's not getting a ton of value on the puck line. I think it was -225, and that's just because they've been covering. I'll take those all day just because it's free money. I'm not going to get back the biggest return, but when you can get those, trendy teams, or either team in the Florida and Carolina game. Those are just both two really good teams. It'll probably be a 1-goal game, right? So take the plus option, whoever it is, right? So I like to go with that strategy. When you're getting a trendy team that gets that plus option, hammer down on it. And if they're only going to give you -215, -220, okay, take your money. It's not a lot, but take it, right?
Yeah. Next game is Toronto Maple Leafs against the Edmonton Oilers. Man, this matchup is like one of the most exciting matchups. Like whenever I see them, I'm like, oh, I want to see what's going on there. Anyway, puck line: Maple Leafs +1.5, -240. Oilers -1.5, +200. Money line: the Leafs are -102, and the Oilers are -108. Over under is 6.5. Both team goals are 3.5.
I'm taking the plus option. I'm just taking the +1.5 on, who is it? Toronto?
Plus option on Toronto. They're on the money line?
No, on the puck line.
Oh, Edmonton.
Yeah, give me Edmonton +1.5. Both teams have been playing very well. Edmonton's 8-2 in their last 10. I like the under in this game as well. Both teams have been hitting the under. 8-3 for Toronto in their last 11. 7-3 in their last 10 for Edmonton to hit the under. And as you alluded to, who was it? The Maple Leafs shut them out 4-0 in their last game. So
yeah,
I don't think they're going to do it again. I don't think they're going to go back-to-back games, no goals for the Oilers. I don't think that's going to be the case.
I see it being like a 4-2 game.
That's the under, right? Because you're at 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. I don't see Oilers covering the spread. The Maple Leafs, they're -1.5 on the spread. So. So they would have they're losing. So I'm gonna say the Maple Leafs are gonna cover the spread, which is +1.5. They're gonna win by 2.
Okay, all right, I got you.
You want next game?
Edmonton was just in one of my parlays. I think with this next one, you have Minnesota King and Vegas up next.
Yeah, Minnesota against Vegas. Wild is +1.5, -205 on the puck line. Knights are -1.5, +175. On the money line, Wild +121, Golden Knights -134, over under 5.5. And then team goals, Wild is 2.5, Golden Knights 3.5.
Another game where I just like the +1.5 with not the better team, but a hot team, and the Minnesota Wild, who have won 6 in a row. They've been hitting the over in their last 5 games, but Vegas plays a very defensively disciplined, sound game. So I am going to take the under in this one, but I do like Minnesota to cover the +1.5. I still think that Vegas wins this one outright.
Ooh, man, they really have been streaking, and streaking hard. Like
they've been looking good.
Yeah, only their last game against the Kings 2 nights ago was a 1-goal difference. I'm going to say that the Wild do win. I'm going to say they win outright. They're the plus option, so I'm going to take them.
Yeah, I like the value there. They're a hot team. If you can get a hot team on a plus option, why not? Obviously, we all know things have to cool off at some point, but hey, 7 in a row ain't that big a deal.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So next game, Colorado Avalanche against the San Jose Sharks. -1.5, or the Avalanche is -1.5 on the puck line, +115. Sharks is +1.5 on the puck line, -135. On the money line, Avalanche is -217. Sharks +194. Over under is 6. And then team goals, Avalanche 3.5, Sharks 2.5.
I like the Avalanche a lot in this one. I'm just never a fan of San Jose. Colorado, been really good. They're stacked. They've got a ton of talent. I will take Colorado to win this one by 2. So I'll take Colorado to win. I'll take them on the puck line. And what's the total for the game? Is it at 5.5?
I think it was 6.
6? 6 even. I might take the under there. I don't think San Jose scores a lot. I could see a 4-1 game. I could see a 4-2 game. Just outright win from Colorado. I think they smash them tonight.
Give me the over.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that the Sharks' defense is pretty awful, and they let up a lot of goals, but sometimes they're able to catch lightning in a bottle with their offense. So I'm going to say that they do have a little bit of a shootout with Nathan McKinnon and his crew, but they are going to lose.
All right, right on. Yeah, Colorado 5-1 straight up in their last 6 versus San Jose. But you know what's really weird about this one? San Jose 17-3 versus Colorado in their last 20
at home. Anything to it?
I'm sorry, what was the stat again? I was pulling up a website.
San Jose 17-3 in their last 20 versus Colorado at home. Anything to it?
No.
I'm not buying into it, but I just thought it was an interesting stat that I found earlier. I was like, that's weird. They're bad. I'm not going to pick them to win because they're bad.
Yeah, that's a weird stat.
All right. We'll get back to some live updates here in a bit. We're going to go over some recent news and some of our reactions. First up, we got Tortorella with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Looks like he is on the hot seat. Says he's not worried about potentially getting out of town, but a lot of coaches say that in the NHL. Head coach up there with the Canadians, Joe Quenneville from my Blackhawks, got canned out of nowhere for no necessary reason, even though he's like number 2 in the league all time for wins. No big deal. Let's fire him and get some dude in his diapers to coach us. Whatever. Can Tortorella right the ship? And does he finish the year as a Columbus Blue Jacket?
I feel like he's one of those coaches whose message just kind of gets lost, as he stays with the team. He is the second leading guy in wins, but sometimes the message just gets lost, and especially on a younger generation of players.
That was Joe Quenneville I was referring to.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, not Tortorella.
But Tortorella has been in the league for a long time, but I don't think he can right the ship. I think that with the trade that they had done, it would be great to have a fresh face in there and take the team to the next level.
I've just never been a fan of his. He's just super abrasive, more than necessary, I feel at times. And I don't think that he's going to last there. And I think in general, that organization just needs an entire culture change. They're constantly, reshaping the face of their organization. They were doing, I don't even know if I want to say they were doing everything in their power to keep Panarin, because it didn't feel like they were. I would have locked that dude in a room until he signed a contract, but whatever. It's really hard to keep big name players there. So, I think they really have to start from the bottom up. They should have been a team that was just all in for a guy like Joe Quenneville. I'm a big fan of what the Florida Panthers are doing. They're completely in a different direction than they were during my youth. And that was the exact same situation with the Blackhawks. Growing up, they were terrible. They started getting some pieces in there. I think Dennis Savard was our coach when we actually had Kane and Taves drafted, and then they transitioned to Joe Quenneville. And that was a huge deal for us. So, I don't think Tortorella is going to finish the year out there. I think they're, I don't know if they're necessarily destined for the playoffs. I think my Blackhawks are going to beat them out of a playoff spot, to be perfectly honest with you. They just took 2 wins from them in their last back-to-back. So if they don't make the playoffs, I do think that he's going to be out of there.
I feel like in some ways the Blue Jackets kind of have a Moneyball approach where they have these big names, and they're almost trying to pick that one that is that big one, but you have a bunch of ones like Panarin. I felt the same way. They weren't trying to lock them down in any kind of way. And they just kind of use, Columbus is kind of a small market, but
Cleveland, especially for hockey.
Yeah, but I think that they're just using their small market and just keeping the bills low right now, I guess.
They're 8-10-5 on the year. They are 5th in the division. Ahead of them right now, Carolina, Chicago, Florida, and Tampa. Chicago, I believe it's either 2 or 3 games with Tampa, so that's going to be big for us. We're going to need to hold our ground there. But they're 6 points behind the 4th spot, behind Carolina. So they're on the outside looking in, and they have Nashville creeping up on them. Heck, they're only 2 games ahead of Detroit Red Wings, who are just the joke of the division here. And, of course, Dallas, they can't play any games because they either get COVID or it snows in Texas or whatever. They just can't play any games. They've only played, 16 games. Everyone's up much higher than that. Blackhawks.
Wow.
19, 22 games, something like that, 23 games for the Blackhawks. So they just can't get any games. For all we know, they could come back and roll over on Columbus and take their spot. So we don't really know. I don't have a ton of faith in them, and I really don't like the way that they've lined things up. I like Atkinson. What is it? There's the center that they got in that trade. It's going to drive me nuts right now.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah, he's been really solid up the middle, but they're really just stacked on their first line, and they really don't have any depth. I think he's going to be out of town. I don't think it's going to last, and I just don't think young players buy into his abrasiveness. Like they just don't respond to it anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work on the new generation, and you got to have those guys that can like Barry Trotz. I would consider him an old coach, an old school coach, but he's learned to like talk to the younger guys. And like I was really disappointed when he walked from the Caps after the Stanley Cup win. Like I thought he was like the perfect coach for us, and then you saw what he's done with the Islanders, and you're just like, man, like that could have been continued in Washington. So Tortorella definitely has his own way, but it's getting old in the NHL.
Yeah. Speaking of abrasive behavior,
gosh.
Jordy Binnington. I mean, I wish I could play the video, but we keep getting in trouble for posting YouTube videos on here, shutting us down for like 30 seconds to a minute at a time or whatever. But Jordan Binnington, I don't know what he was doing. I was yelling, hit him with your purse, Jordy. Like, what are you doing? The guy's getting pulled from a game, and someone's chirping him like Jordy Binnington's reacting like it was the first time someone's been chirped on the ice of the NHL. Like, goes after the guy, gives him a little something, and it was like I don't even know if you call it a punch. Like what was that guy? Like, what are you doing right now? Like, he's going over to start a fight that he's not even ready to start. You know, he's leaving the ice now. They're like, all right, guy, get out of here. He runs into another guy. And then after that, Devin Dubnik's like, hey, I got a little something for you. Like, goalie fight. Let's go. And then Binnington's like, no goalie fight. No goalie fight. I'm out of here. He
didn't want to face someone his own size. Like, didn't want to face somebody with the same gear he had. He wanted to go after like a regular player on the ice. Like, it just kind of seemed like, you know, after the bully gets in trouble at school, like, and is walking back and like looking at you like all nasty and just throws a little punch, like just to get you a little reaction on you. Like, just kind of like, man, dude, grow up. Like, is it really that worth it? Like, if you're gonna swing. Like, I'm surprised, you know, if he did that against Tom Wilson probably would have leveled him.
Dude, I thought Dubnyk was gonna drop the gloves. Like, let's go, come on, right now, come on. And he's like, no. Is he gonna respond from this or what? Husso is in net tonight for the Blues. Is next Binnington start getting a win?
No. He's
send him down.
He's mentally done. Like, after what happened in the bubble last year and then this year, like just that, like that's not, for me, that's not like progressing forward after last year. Like, he's kind of letting him lose his ability to stay focused. Like, I don't know. It's embarrassing. And I think you need to kind of think about moving forward in the future, not staying with Binnington.
Jordy, no smoke, Binnington. Man, I thought I was going to see a goalie fight when I saw that highlight when I was like, you know, watching it. I didn't see it live, of course, but man, and the Blues in general, just like, man, what a dumpster fire. They're killing profits right now. Like, don't bet on them when they're favored. That's for damn sure. Their performance is less than desirable. Not loving it. Speaking of less desirable performances, Mika Zibanejad. I'm like 4th in points in my fantasy league. Of course, I'm 2-4, but this guy was my number 1 pick. He was my number 1 pick at the end of the first round. 12-team league. I was really high on him, and he is just blowing it for me. And not necessarily like I'm doing well, like, you know, 4th out of 12 in points. 2-4 is not great as far as the wins go. You know, I've lost some close ones, and I just keep playing, you know, like, you know, highest scoring point, player or team that week, right? Drives you nuts, but that's all right. Only 6 weeks in, you know, the tried and true will prevail. I'll get back up there. But Mika Zibanejad, like, I don't know what to do with this guy. Like, I just cannot bring myself to drop my first overall pick. I'm offering up trades for him. I offered a trade for Justin Falk for Carolina. I was like, I'll go after a defenseman. I offered it to my brother. He was like, get the hell out of here. What are you trying to pull over here? Not happening. I think he offered me back like, hey, I'll take Anders Lee for Justin Falk, guys. Slow down. I was like, damn it, this isn't going to work. Am I going to be able to unload this guy, Nick? And do you think he can even finish over 30 points for the rest of the season? Is he even worth it? Should I just drop his ass?
I mean, I don't know. I've never been one to give up my first pick in the
Right? Like how?
yeah, like you invested so much in him. You know, you really got to see the entire season through. He might catch a streak, you know, and start giving that production that you need. It is kind of a longer season than fantasy football, where every
Right.
game literally counts. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I think I would hold on to him because I think he could catch fire. He has that ability, you know.
You hear that, everybody in my league? Zibanejad, he's going to start doing good. Accept some offers. What the hell? Entertain some at least. How about Chris Letang? Oppo of Zibanejad. He's just on fire right now. I'll pull up his recent game log here, but do you think that he can hit over 80 points for the season? That's his pace right now. He's on pace for 80 points or whatever, 79.5 for the rest of the year. Can he hit the over on that? Chris Letang.
Yeah, why not? I mean, he's
Yeah,
got
fuck it.
he's got Crosby. He next to him. I'm anybody that's hot in Pittsburgh. They're hot for a reason, and there's a bunch of options for them to score and get assists,
Right.
and also get the puck fed to them. Pittsburgh's one of those teams that when they have the hot hand, they will feed you the puck until you are ice cold.
Mm-hmm. So he's got 7 points in his last 5 games, 4 goals, and 3 assists. Banging. And this is a guy that gets a ton of minutes, especially on the power play. So I want every bit of them, just because of how good Pittsburgh has been. They only have 4 regulation wins out of 11 wins. Like they play it down to the wire. Chris Letang's a part of that, and he's a big difference maker. I am certain, I don't have this information in front of me, but I know that when he was missed, they went through like a cold streak. They started losing games. So he's a big factor in their lineup. I don't have a stat on that, but maybe next week I'll get that back to you guys or tweet it out or something. But he is a big difference maker in their lineup. I don't know about 80 points. That's a lot. I think that's a tall order for a 56-game season for a defenseman. But I do think he's going to be right up in there in the mix. With guys like Kale Maker, Shea Theodore has been really good. So I think he'll be up in that mix. But 80 points, man, that's a really tall order for a defenseman in 56 games. I bet if they make the playoffs, hey, if you want to extend that to the playoffs, I'm all over it. I think that Pittsburgh is going to make a run. I think that some of these guys like Malkin are going to get it together, kind of get it going. I trust Malkin to get it going more than I trust Zibanejad, just because the Rangers have just been a shit show all year long. Locker room drama. They lost Panarin. Shesterkin's been warm. He's been hot. He's been cold. Like, they don't have an identity still at goalie, really. I just don't trust them as a team, really. I trust the Penguins more, kind of alluding to your point earlier about, you just get to play with these great players and play within that good, system. So I like it.
Yeah.
Let's move over to some guys that we're adding, some waiver wire options, if you want to start from the top.
Yeah. So the first one is Oliver Wahlstrom, right wing for the New York Islanders. He's only 2% rostered. So and it's the last day it's 2%. He's only had 2 goals in his last 7 that I see, but he's had 4 assists, so 6 points in basically 7 to 8 games. I'd add him. Islanders. They are a younger team, and they have Trotz there, and Trotz seems to get a lot of production out of guys on the lower levels and younger guys. So I would say take him.
Right on. I just got a goal from Ottawa, officially on the lead here. My boy Artem Anisimov, let's go, racking it up, making that money in Ottawa. I love it. Let's go, buddy. Ottawa up 1-0. Breaking it open. And this game was looking like it's going to the under 2. I'm liking that as well. We'll get to some more live updates here in a bit. I do like Oliver Wahlstrom. 2 goals in his last 3 games, 3 assists in his last 4. I think he's just a very trendy player right now to add in fantasy. I'm not sure if this is going to last, rest of the season, ROS, but I do like him right now. Get him on your roster until he gives you a reason not to. I think it's a very good pickup. Next up, one of my guys, I got Sam Gagner for the Detroit Red Wings. As we always say, someone for this team has to score goals, right? He had a hat trick. What was it? A couple of games ago, not last game, but 3 games ago, had a goal still in his last game, and he hasn't finished, minus anything since February 19th, and it's only, what is it? 1 out of his last 6 games. He's finished, minus less than 0. So I don't think there's, worldly downside for him because he plays for the Red Wings. He's got offensive upside for him. He is their first line center on their power play, but he's only playing on as a wing position on the third line. So he's got some good value. Go pick up Sam Gagner. What is he? 0% rostered right now is what it says. 0%.
I'd add him. I mean, like you just alluded to in the beginning, that someone's got to score goals for his team, and what I really like to see is shots on goal. He is taking some shots, and 1 to 2 of them are going to come in. So
he had like 7 alone, I think, in that Blackhawks game. Is that right?
Yeah, he got 1 in.
Yeah, the Blackhawks, man, they stuck it to Detroit in the back end of that game. They were only up like 2-1 for like a good portion of that game, and then they just blew it wide open. They just like Thomas Christ was just having a bad day. Like just everything was going in, off the bars. Just every open spot of the net was found. Like it was not a good time, like the back end of the second period and onwards for the Red Wings. But the Red Wings were out shooting the Hawks like crazy, and Gagner was a big part of that. Like you said, 7 shots on net in just in one game. That's a ton of value in fantasy. So, yeah, go out and get him. What's your next one?
Next one is Carl Soderberg, the center or left wing against for the Chicago Blackhawks. Only 6% rostered, plus 2% in the last day. He did have a goal and 2 assists against Columbus in a 6-5 win. I would definitely take a chance on him. He's taken a lot of shots in the past 4 games, and there's been a lot of scoring in the past 4 games for Chicago. So I think he's trying to join in on the train.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's playing on the power play. Blackhawks power play is one of the best in the league, guys. So get anyone they have available realistically, even if it's like a Pius Sutter for a couple of games or something like that. I think obviously like Kane and DeBrincat are going to be owned and guys like that. But I think Soderberg's a chippy start. I like it. Get him in there. Again, just another guy, get him on your team until he gives you a reason not to. This stretch may not last, but I think he's a very trendy pickup right now.
The next one is Pavel Zacha.
Pavel
Zacha, sorry. He's a center left wing for the Devils, 31% rostered, plus 13% in the last day. He's had 8 shots on goal in the past 3 games. He's trying to get it in. Only had 2 games where he's plus minus negative. So he's definitely getting a lot of points for you in the past games. Hasn't been negative since, I have no idea, but the last one I see is February 16th. So that's a good amount of time.
It's a good stretch. Yeah. Yeah. I like him a lot. Obviously I'm a Devils guy, and he's just always consistent. Like if you look at his point totals, he hasn't finished less than, his floor is like 4 points in his last, 3, 6, 8 games. I think that's pretty solid for points-based hockey. So I'll take all of them. One of your guys, my next guy up, Lars Eller for the Capitals. He's been rolling. 2 goals in his last 3 games, 2 assists in his last 3 games. Doesn't get a lot of shots on net, but just plays really sound hockey. Only 7% rostered. Just another guy, just another fill-in spot. I definitely don't think he's a season-long option. But I like his production. He's had his floor in the last 5 games or so is, about 5 points. So I'll take every bit of them.
I mean, if you're hurting for centers, Lars would be a good little ad. I wouldn't say, rush to get him, but if you need a center, he's a good little option. Probably a cheaper option or anything. But he's a good option.
Absolutely. Next one up I'm looking at is Matt Dumba for the Wild. Just a solid stay-at-home defenseman, doesn't provide a ton of offense, but does get a good amount of blocks, especially if you're playing in category leagues, 2, 3, 4 blocks type of games. He did have a goal and an assist a couple of games ago, but that's not something that you should be expecting, every outing. Ooh, Ottawa up 2-0. Let's go. Covering and winning. Love it. But yeah, he's just been solid for the Wild.
He's 49% rostered, so may not be a guy that's available, but he is a guy that kind of gets floated in and out of teams' rosters in fantasy. So if he's there, I'm definitely going to pick him up until he gives me a reason not to.
Yeah, I definitely see him. Someone that you can catch when they're not playing and someone needs that extra spot. Scoop them up and stash them on your team or use them.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the next one?
Next one is Anton Strawman, 0% roster, the defenseman for the Florida Panthers. In his, he didn't play the last game, or actually that game is today.
Tonight.
Yeah. Last game he got 4 points and like 4 fantasy points. And then the game before that got 11 with a goal. He gets a couple shots on goal per game. If he's in, he's going to take a couple shots. So 1 to 2 maybe go in every once in a while. So I would definitely keep him if you need some defensemen. He's not rostered by anybody, but
deeper league player for sure. Like Anton
Yeah.
Strawman, definitely, 14 teams, 16 teams in your league, definitely a deeper option. But I'm willing to flirt with him.
Just in his position,
Playing with the Panthers, they've been playing really well recently. He does get some power play time. I'm taking Aaron Ekblad tonight on a goal prop. So for all we know, it'll wind up going Strawman's way, right? it's fantasy over props. I love when I can't get them both, but at least you diversify. You'll get one. Got to hedge your bets.
yeah.
Next one up, fan favorite. I got PK Subban, but he's only 23% rostered. He has had an assist in 3 out of his last 4 games.
He doesn't consistently, finish, positive, on the plus minus. So definitely something, a reason why he is constantly filtered on and off fantasy teams. But definitely give him a look. He's streaking right now. Played very well yesterday in that game up against your Capitals, but they did not come home with the win. They lost 3-2. But he did finish with a +1 and an assist. So yeah, definitely a big one. And to wrap up the defenseman, I'll finish with Shane, the Ghost Affair. He's been rolling recently, has 2 goals in his last 3 appearances, finished +2, +1, +1 his last 3 games. Has gotten a lot of shots on net. He's got 13 shots in his last 3 games. Give me all of the Ghost, 6% rostered. I'm grabbing him everywhere. Absolutely.
I would definitely take him with how many shots on goal he has as a defenseman. Gee, he's got to be shooting some slappers.
Oh, yeah. I'm losing you.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
I'm sorry. Maybe.
No, you're good. Your picture just went out for a second. You're good. You're good. All right, let's move over to the goalies, and we'll wrap up the waiver wire and jump into some live betting options here. What goalies you got up?
So the goalie is Jonathan Quick, 34% rostered. I always have a lot of respect for Jonathan Quick. I think he always gives a respectable game when he's playing. And his past 4 games, he's only let up 5 goals, and 2 of them were shutouts. So I think he's a good little ad, and he can be a hot ticket every once in a while.
I don't know why he's available. I mean, people are just dumping him, on hot and go attempts here. I mean, the last game, he let up 3 goals, 27 saves though. The game before that, shutout, 31 saves. The game before that, 2 goals against. They won, only 20 saves. Like that's not like a huge ceiling, right? This is just the team playing good in front of them. And the game before that, a win, a shutout, 28 saves. I don't know why this guy's available. I mean, Cal Peterson is playing very well. Both of these guys and the Kings in general are been a very surprising team, very similar to my Blackhawks this year. I wasn't expecting them to have the success that they are experiencing right now. So yeah, I want every bit of Jonathan Quick. I think that he is going to wind up being like that, solid season-long option. Obviously, you're going to run into issues with him sitting games because they are going back and forth between Cal Peterson. Looks like the future there. Cal Peterson, another guy. I'd love to have both of them, but typically in these fantasy teams, you can't just hold goalies like that unless you're like in a dynasty league and you have a lot of bench capital in that available space, right? I don't. So for example, I'm running Drieger, Shesterkin, and Varlamov. Calgary just got a power play goal, killing me. And those guys all have a lot of upside. Shesterkin, recency not so great, but he had a very solid stretch there, kind of a hot and cold guy. Someone that I want to hang on to, kind of see if it works out for me, if it develops into something. But yeah, I love John Quick. Give me all of them. Cal Peterson, if he's available too. I think they're both worth a look. Detroit Red Wings, Thomas Greiss. I was giving him a hard time earlier. Jonathan Bernier, he's the guy over there. He's been rolling in his last, 1, 2, 3, 4 starts. He's got, how do you get 2 wins in a game? It says it gave him 2 wins in a day. I don't know how that happened. 49 points on February 20th. I don't know if they played a doubleheader or what I'm missing here, but he got 2 goals against 76 saves. So I don't know what happened. They must have played 2 games or something. 21 fantasy points the game, 2 games after that, 15 points in his last appearance, 33 saves, 37 saves, 31 saves, apparently a 76 save appearance. I missed that one. 23 saves, 24 saves. Get him on your team, man. He's a Detroit goalie. Thomas Greiss. Get him. Let's go. Who's the next one?
I mean, Next one, oh, Mike Smith, my boy. So he's only 62. He's 62% roster, so a lot of people have him.
Mm.
But when he's floated in and out of the lineup, he's a great little pickup. He did lose, 4-0 against Toronto, but then he won 3-0 and 4-3 against Vancouver with 32 and 30 saves. So he did get a shutout in one of them. I think he gives a professional play as a goalie every single time. Like, he's not gonna exactly win every single game, but he will definitely give the best chance as the goalie in Edmonton.
Yeah, I agree with that. In his recent performance, 25, 32, 30 saves, a shutout across those 3 appearances, and only, 2 goals allowed. Or I'm sorry, 3 or 7 goals allowed across that spree, but he had 2 wins. So at the end of the day, you want the wins. And even in that game where he had 3 goals against, he had 14 fantasy points still. And the 4 goal against game, obviously they lost 4-0, only had 3 fantasy points. Obviously that's bad. But the game before that, 29 fantasy points, 32 saves, and a shutout. I like what you get out of him. And typically, obviously Edmonton's not going to play Toronto every night. I mean, yeah, they got shut out by the best team in the league right now, the best offensive team, and most balanced team, I'd say, defensively and offensively in the Maple Leafs. They were playing, really undisciplined hockey to start the year. But as I mentioned earlier, they're 5-1. Their last 6, they hit the under. So they've cleaned up some things on their defensive side of the puck. So I like what they're doing right now. But back to Mike Smith and Oilers, I'll take all of Mike Smith.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, let's jump into some live betting options here. Get some live updates in these games.
I'll pull them up here.
I know right now Ottawa 2-1 over Calgary. They are covering. They're looking good. So let's see. Let's start there. NHL. Here we go. Ottawa 2-1. Right now, Flames are plus 1.5 on the puck line, minus 217. Do you think that the Senators can blow them away, or they just win by 1? Or can Calgary just potentially come back and straight up win?
No. I don't think Calgary's going to do that. I think Ottawa's going to win by 2. I think they're going to get 1 more goal.
Ooh, Ottawa winning by 2. I'm not feeling that comfortable with Ottawa yet. They're out shooting them 18-16 right now, up 2-1. About 8 minutes left in the second. I'm going to stick with the Senators in this one, but I'm not going to take them at minus 1.5 now. I got them at plus 1.5 before the game started. We're looking at a live total here of 5.5 goals with 3 goals on the ticket. Can we hit the over?
Yeah. I think we can. 3, 5.
Got to get to 6. Got to double it. We're halfway there. I'm gonna take the under just because I just saw Calgary only has 4 shots so far in this period to Ottawa's 11, so they're getting handled right now in this period. Could finish out that way. I mean, obviously they could change the pace here and flip it around, but like I said, to start of the show, Calgary, they don't look good tonight, man. They're tripping over each other in warm-ups. Sean Monahan's taking pucks to the face from his teammates. Woo! Ottawa 3-1. You're on it, Nick. You're on it. Who is it? The goalie literally just handed it to Batherson, of the Senators. Just gave him an easy goal. Literally just chipped it right to him. He turned around and fired it right back on net. Ottawa now up 3-1, 8:16 left in the second. So I guess we got to go to the over. They're already at 4. Maybe the Senators just do it themselves. And also, how we alluded to earlier in the show, Ottawa, they've been hitting the overs. They're 7-3 in their last 10, so they've been scoring. I think you're on something there, Nick. I was taking the under, but you got the over there, and they just adjusted the number to 6.5. So you got in on it. All right, next matchup, we got Carolina and the Panthers. Hurricanes minus 1.5 on the puck line. Panthers plus 1.5. Total is now at 3.5. I like that. 6 minutes left in the second. Hurricanes up 1-0. We're getting a chippy game here. 1-0 lead. Who's going to win this one outright, Nick? You said the Panthers earlier. No faith?
I'm going to say right now Carolina's going to win 2-1. I see Florida getting 1 more. But there is only 6 minutes left in the second. They still have the third, but I'm going to say that Carolina wins 2-1.
You're taking the under 3.5. Bold man. Like to live dangerously. I don't know if I can do the 3.5. I'm gonna take the over 3.5. I would really like the Panthers to just win, and that would be just the easiest thing for me, so I don't have to sweat them losing by 2. what was it? I picked Carolina to cover. I think it was against Tampa Bay last week. Just cover the +1.5 because, again, two very good teams. Give me the +1.5. I lost it with 30 seconds left in the game on an empty netter.
Oh, man. Heartbreaker.
Heartbreaker indeed. Heartbreaker indeed. I had them parlayed with the Hawks, who were a plus option, and they just won outright 2-0. So it was a little rough. It was a little rough. I don't like losing that way. I don't like empty net losses, but you just as easily you can win with an empty net. So someone else obviously made their number on that empty net goal, right? So it can go both ways, but it's definitely a sour taste in your mouth for certain. All right, next one up, we got Vancouver Canucks and the Jets. The Canucks responding. Wow, pissing me off. Up 2-0 on the Jets. Jets have won 4 in a row. The Canucks have lost 4 in a row. I hate this. And I said that the Canucks are going to play desperate, which pisses me off. Like you see that trend. You're like, it's really hard to lose 5 in a row in the NHL, but you just don't want to pick them to win, right?
Winnipeg's been playing very well. This is disappointing. It's really pissing me off here. 8:40 left in the first.
Can the Jets get it right?
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, it's only 3 shots on goal, so it's not like that they were like overwhelming the Jets. It's just those 3 shots ended up going in. They still have a lot left in the game. I think that the Jets could come back and win.
I really hope that they don't, Nick, because while I did pick the Jets to win for the show's sake, I did not bet them to win. I bet this game to go to the under 6.5 goals. So if the Jets get back in it and they win, I'm going to lose that bet, but my pick will be correct. Balancing the stuff is tough, people. It's a real bit of a magic show, but I love it. We have fun with it. That's why we're here. Sorry, just watching Ottawa try to do some more data. I think it's the last live one that we have up here. So let's shift over to some history in the making here, or recent history. My boy Kane. He hit 400 goals. That's why I'm wearing the sweater. It's a Kane jersey. You guys can't tell. I said so at the top of the hour. But yeah, rocking the 88 American jersey tonight. Kane hit 400 goals in that brutal 7-2 victory over the Red Wings. That was awesome. But yeah, he had a nice little toe drag, stuffed her home. Very Patrick Kane-esque goal. Any high expectations for Kane this year, Nick? I'm talking like MVP. Is this team a playoff team? Obviously, I'm going to say so, but I want to get your take on it. Some outside opinion. Is this team going to the playoffs? And what's Patrick Kane's odds to win the MVP? I feel like he has to be in the top 3 if this team is a playoff team.
If they make the playoffs, I'm going to say if they make the playoffs, let's just say like the bottom seed. I'm going to say he's not going to win the MVP, but if they go in and like start housing people like consistently and like there's an entire season's length, and especially Taves is gone, I'm going to say yes, he does. Like if they go maybe maybe third to first, he could definitely win MVP. That's a very high goal, and I'm not saying he should really shoot for that, but if that's what happens, then he'd be a great pick for the MVP.
I don't see why not. And honestly, I just feel like if they make the playoffs, period, he should be a top 3 option, right up there with McDavid. And I don't know if you want to throw in like, Pastrnak or Marchand, one of those guys in there. I don't know. Pick one. Doesn't matter. I think one of those guys will be. But this team, it lacks a ton of experience, Nick. Kane just scored his 400th goal. I think that makes him like the 4th player in the team's history to do so. But this season, we've had a record 5 players score their first NHL goals. Brandon Hagel just got his first one just a couple of games ago. Like, this is a really, really young team. Next to Patrick Kane, because Jonathan Taves is out of the lineup, the most experienced, tenured Blackhawk, obviously Duncan Keith, right? But if you think about it, this team could just as easily still have the experience of Jonathan Taves on the roster, a Brent Seabrook. If Crawford didn't call it quits, there could easily be that experience. And this is the first year where it's just been completely thrown off the boat or off the ledge with just lack of experience. And they're getting it done. I absolutely love it. If they do make a playoff run and they get a couple of these guys back, I don't know. We're going to have a ton of options for our lineups every single night. Colleton's going to have good problems to have. And I'm a Colleton hater. Jeremy Colleton, if you're watching this some way, somehow, I still hate you. I don't like it. I don't like you. I'm sorry. But hey, tip of the cap. You're doing a good job. When you do a good job, I say hello. I say tip of the cap, sir. Kane, rest of the season, I think he does win MVP if they make it to the playoffs. And I mean, right now they're third in the division, right? And that's what's going to get you into the playoffs. You just have to finish in the top 4 in your division, and then you're in. And then you're just going to play the 1 seed if you're the 4, 2, 3, vice versa, because that's how the NHL is handling COVID protocols and, the scheduling, right? Right now, we're going to have a stretch of, Tampa Bay. I think we got him for 2 or 3 games. If Patrick Kane shows up in there, he's going to be lighting up those MVP odds on FanDuel and sportsbooks alike. If Blackhawk fans throw a couple shekels on him, I'm telling you, I mean, this team, they just got it going. Kevin Lankkonen's probably going to be in the mix for Rookie of the Year as well. He was a big part of that win up against Detroit, made a ton of saves. They were out. The Blackhawks were still outshot in that game. So he's been playing well. Shout out to him. And yeah, I think Kane will be in the mix for MVP come the end of the year. For his career-wise, 400 goals right now. I don't necessarily know how many points. I don't have his logs up in front of me, but I mean, he's going to finish in the Blackhawks Hall of Fame. I have to imagine he's going to be USA Hockey Hall of Fame. Don't see why he's not going to be a first ballot NHL Hall of Famer. So, things are going to be looking up for him. Do I think he catches guys like, Ovechkin or Crosby and stuff like that? I don't necessarily know. He's still on a very young team right now that's technically in a rebuild that's producing. So not really sure what the career holds for him, but hopefully he finishes it out in Chicago. I do not want to see this guy in a Buffalo Sabres jersey at any time in his career. End of story. All right, to wrap it up, Nick's going to read an excerpt here, and we're going to take a little bit of a different take to close out the show. We're going to talk about some jersey numbers and why we wear them. Go ahead, Nick. I'll let you kind of take it away. Give folks a little bit of mystery here.
Yep. So this is a quote from Gordie Howe, the numbers we wear and why. When I joined the Red Wings, it had been Roy Conachar's sweater, but he was dealt away near the beginning of the 1947-48 season. I didn't mind wearing number 17 except for one thing. We traveled to away games by train. On overnight trips, the sleeper card had 24 berths, a dozen spots on top and 12 down below. Bunks were assigned by sweater number, with lower digits getting the bottom beds. A trainer pointed out to me that by switching numbers, I could get a lower berth and sleep more comfortably. I snatched up Gonchar's number straight away. After spending most of my career as number 9, it feels strange to try and picture myself wearing a different number. It's funny to think that at the time, it was purely a practical decision.
It's pretty funny. So we're just going to kind of close out the show with a little discussion, the numbers we wear and why. You got a big number that you've always worn, Nick?
Yeah, the one number I wore, it was I played lacrosse and football in high school, and football I had a different number every single year. My freshman year I had 2 numbers because that's
kind of how it goes though in football, right? And you played like a ton of positions too.
Yeah, I ended up getting moved back to freshman because I didn't play and I wanted to play more. So I moved back and they only had 2 different numbers for away and home jersey. I was like, screw it, I don't care, I'll take them. I didn't care, I wanted to play. But for lacrosse, I had number 18. I had that all 4 years. I couldn't believe I had it for all 4 years because it was kind of like a hot number back then in lacrosse because my favorite player was Kyle Harrison of Johns Hopkins. He was amazing to watch, and I watched him from college, pros, and his videos were the ones that I watched learning how to play lacrosse. So he was a big inspiration for me. So I got to wear his number all 4 years. I changed my number to number 11 for 11-11. So now whenever I play lacrosse, I use 11. Just personally, it gives me a little bit more spirituality, I guess.
Gives you the spirituality. You're getting up in there with 11-11. I like it. I wasn't necessarily all over the place. There was always a common theme, and I was one of those kids that was, coming to school, writing my Gordie Howe autobiography projects. Let's do, let's give a speech. Give me an explanatory, explain why Gordie Howe's the greatest hockey player of all time, ahead of Wayne Gretzky. Or I was one of those kids, so I was definitely drawn into him more so than those guys like Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, just because back then everyone was always old time hockey, Hanson brothers, foil up, all that good stuff, right? So there was definitely that, more classical feel to a guy like Gordie Howe, who literally has a hat trick named after him, right? I think a Wayne Gretzky hat trick is, you score 3 goals in a period, or you score 3 goals in 10 minutes or something like that, right? But Gordie Howe hat trick, goal, assist, and win a fight. I think that just speaks a lot to the type of player that he was. That dude played until he was in his 60s. So my first team that I was on, I was number 18. It was just the number given to me, and I was like, all right, cool, 18, Gordy times 2 type of thing. I'm like, that's cool, that's dope. But the first time I got to pick a number, 9 wasn't available. That was taken, and 9 is a very popular number in hockey.
I bet.
You got, Paul Correa to blame for that one. Thanks, Paul. So it was a popular number growing up. But once I got it, I had it forever until I hit high school. And then once I hit high school, someone had it, and the guy was a year older than me. So of course, buckle up, because you better pick your number. You're not getting 9. And I even considered it like my senior year. I was like, should I get 9? Should I get 9? I was like, nah, fuck it. So I took 81. 18 was taken. 9 was taken. So I went with 81, and 81 just wound up being me. And that's what I loved about it, because it was just like my own thing. I liked a guy like Miroslav Shatan, so I saw some 81 around, and the old Buffalo jerseys were kind of similar to my team's jerseys too. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to rock 81, 9 or 81 squared, 9 and all that stuff. And I started, 18 backwards, 8 plus 1, 9, it all comes from something. Right. So I made that one my own. I still rock it all the time, anywhere I can, my own jersey, 81s all over all my stuff and things like that. So yeah, just made it my own, but it did origin from Gordie Howe's situation. And it was funny because his came just from something random, it didn't even really mean anything to him, but inspired, so many young players in the years to come to, rock the number 9. So I was all about it. We can go into some live betting here to close out the show if we have any other new games up, or we'll just give up some updates before we close it out here. Just refreshing it right now. Canucks are now up 3-0, Nick. What the hell? Demko's throwing it in our faces, and he better keep this up too. He better just go full on Demko on him.
Yeah.
I better make sure it is Demko, because I just thought that he was starting.
It is Demko.
Okay, good.
Because there's no way Holtby would be doing this. Like, are you kidding me?
That's true. So yeah, guys, that's a trend to follow. Whenever Demko's in net, maybe don't fade. Maybe don't fade him, right? Panthers in Florida. Hurricanes still up 1-0, so they're covering. The Panthers, that is, they're going into the third. Man, I love the Panthers to get it together here. Just take this one to overtime and win me some money. Don't even need to win it outright for me. Just take them to overtime. And the Senators are still up 3-1, and they are at the end of the second. So that pick is banking right now. Loving that. I think they're going to outright win, and they should cover. If they somehow lose 4-3, I'll still make money. So, but that's pretty much it. You got anything to close the show down with, Nick?
Nope. It was fun talking hockey. I'm glad that, my Caps got their crap together. It was kind of rough seeing the losing scores all the time. So, hope everybody just keeps, staying safe and being healthy, and, see you next time.
Yep, absolutely. Appreciate you guys stopping by and watching with us. Ottawa's still up 3-1. Let's go. I need Jonathan Toews back, man. I need him to get right. I get people on Twitter, kind of calling him out. There's no news is good news. I feel like people are saying, and I feel like no news is just fine. Like I'm good as long as I hear no bad news. Then I'm gonna feel okay. I didn't have the sweater up tonight. I was going to, but Taves, we're thinking about you, brother. Get well, get right. It's just a weird situation. I don't like it. All right, take care, and be well. This was TITTH number 113. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.